Good morning, good evening, depending on what time you watch this. It is about pretty much like 2 in the morning. This is normal for me. Sometimes I come from the gym, I'm able to go right to sleep. Other times I kind of takes me a while to wind down. But the good thing is, it's not like I have to get right up at like 6 in the morning to go to work. I pretty much currently set my own schedule. But really had to take a moment to reflect, had to take a moment to calm down, had to take a moment to really gather my thoughts, because this is a hard conversation, but I want to have this conversation. And even if nobody responds to it, I'll see it as therapy for myself. So really what I want to talk about is how, and I'll preference this first off, I'm not saying all women, but it is so interesting how a lot, and I'm not saying all, because there's some good ones out there, because I'll say my sister, my mother, one of my good friends that I grew up with, there are some good women out there, but what I'm finding is that majority of the women that are single now, majority of the women that are available to date, they have a very twisted version of what a good woman should be. And when I think about it, thinking about how I grew up and thinking about how the church that I grew up in, they always had like groups for kids. They always had where young adults and people would be able to mentor young men and women, teaching them about certain skills and teaching them things that maybe they didn't know or maybe they weren't aware of. But I really appreciated that, because a lot of times the reason why I am the type of man I am today is because I took advantage of those opportunities, and I was like, oh, you know what? This person says, maybe you should do it this way. But I really appreciated the skills that they instilled in us. And even my mother talked about how when she was first getting married, or when she first got married, and I remember one of the ladies, and if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it may have been the mother of our pastor at the time, that she kind of took my mom under her wing and kind of showed her a few things about being a wife. And I feel like that was a major part of why my mother was such a good helpmate for my father. What a lot of people don't know is that a major reason why my father actually became a deacon, then a minister, then an elder, and then before he kind of retired from ministry like that, he was all the way up to assistant pastor. He was at a point where if he would have chosen to, at the time, and Bishop Jones, Lord rest his soul, he has passed on, but my father could have actually been one of the pastors of the mission churches that they had set up to be under our pastor. But my dad was the type of person that wasn't going to be kind of pressured into a position and wasn't going to be taught into a position. He was going to follow the leading of the Holy Spirit and the leading of what God had put in his heart to do. My dad always talked about he was not meant to be a pastor. He was meant to assist a pastor. And that's basically what he was. He was like an assistant pastor. When pastor would go out of town, he would be the one to do what needed to be done. He would be the one to lead the ministry. So I say all that to say, it is so interesting nowadays that And you can see the difference. You can see the difference how women nowadays, unfortunately, a lot of these women come from single parent homes. And the single parent home, as far as mother, was the only one there to raise them. And unfortunately, they're seeing the way that their mother interacted with their dad. And maybe a lot of times, let's just be honest, mother could have tried to trap dad into having the baby. And when she had the baby, dad possibly said from the beginning, I don't want to have a child with you. I don't want to have a child at all. And of course, I know the best way to prevent having a baby is to not have intercourse at all. But people operate in their flesh. And because they want to do it, they're going to do it. So I feel like a lot of times these situations happen where the woman wanted to trap the man. And I'm not saying every time, but I'm saying sometimes we have to just be honest and have this conversation. Some of these women try to trap these men into being with them, and they hope that they would trap them into being with them, and then eventually the guy would marry him, and it just didn't work out. And then what ends up happening, when they go ahead and have that baby, and they keep trying to use that baby as a bargaining tool, the man continues to flee the scene. And the bad part is the kid suffers because the kid's thinking, dang, I guess my dad don't like me. But no, it's not that dad don't like you. It's that dad didn't want to have anything to do with mom, but mom forced this relationship. And she figured she could trap him into being her husband eventually. So I say all that to say, I'll say a couple of things, but one thing is important. People have good intentions. And I'll say this, my friend, he's a 67. He's retired Air Force. He works for the VA. He took it upon himself because he got to know me. He started realizing that me and him had very similar backgrounds. And even though there's an age gap there, we still had the same kind of upbringing, things of that nature. So he felt in his heart, you know what, I'm going to introduce him to somebody nice, because where he works at the VA, there's a lot of single women or available women. And I know how that feels, because working at a call center, you're around a lot of single women. So he took it upon himself to introduce me to somebody. And the reason why he felt it was good to introduce me, because this person was requesting that they wanted to try something different. They wanted to date a man that was actually into the church, that loved God, and they were hoping that that would continue to be the encouragement for them to continue to pursue their relationship with God and things of that nature. So, not to try to make this long, but let's just say we met, we had our first interaction, nice little intimate meeting at a park. We walked around the park just to get to know each other. And then let's just say within that first date, I have taken the time to work on myself, work on fine-tuning my red flag radar, if you want to call it that. And I've gone to counseling. I've done everything to work on myself, because what I have realized is that I sometimes make the mistake of wanting to take on a young lady that I meet, and I'm trying to be this hero, and I'm trying to save her, and it ain't necessarily that she needs to be saved. It ain't necessarily that she wants to be saved. So I had to learn how to step back, because I'm the type of man that likes to help people, but I had to learn. It ain't meant for me to save everybody. What it's meant for me to do is I can tell you the word, I can preach the word to you, and I can let you make your own decision. But it's not meant for me to have to fix you. You should be wanting to fix yourself. So after our first date or interaction, she had mentioned some very vital things. And I have learned that when you let somebody talk enough and they start letting their guard down and they tell you things, believe them. And what she had told me was, and I was taking a chance because I don't have any kids. But I'm of age to know that if I date somebody my age or even slightly younger, I can expect that they probably had kids. If they've been married before like I have, it's a possibility that they may have had kids. It's very normal for somebody my age or a little bit younger to have kids. So I can't necessarily rule out dating someone with kids. So this young lady had 3 kids, 3 boys at that. And I realized that some very vital things she said, even on our first date. And I'm thinking, wow, she's already sharing this, but I felt like it was God allowing me to see who she really was. So one of the first things she was mentioning was she doesn't really show affection. She mentioned that she barely hugs her sons. She barely tells them that she loves them. And she doesn't really feel like she operates well as a mother. She felt like she operated better as a father because she didn't really give them the affection that they need. And I had to take a step back. I'm like, whoa, hold on. So my thought process is, how would this even work if you're trying to be the man in the relationship and I'm coming in presenting the same qualities, but you want me to basically take on the role of being the mother to these kids because you don't want to do the work? That's all I really could hear. That's what she was really saying to me. She said she felt more comfortable, but comfort is not a part of it. Just like I don't feel like going to work every day. I don't feel like washing clothes when I need to wash clothes. I don't feel like cleaning when I need to clean. There's a lot of stuff. I don't want to go to the gym, but you do stuff because it's not about the way you feel. It's that you need to do them. And what I was seeing clearly as day was this woman doesn't want to do certain things because she just don't feel like doing it. But she could do it, but there's a key. There's a point of not wanting to do something and then you letting your feelings judge the way you do things. So that right there was already letting me know, okay, so I'm scaling this back. This not gonna work for me as us being anything more than friendship. So I was gonna leave it there. Fast forward to we hung out one more time because I remember she had invited me over because she had cooked. So she wanted me to kind of hang out with her and the boys, had dinner. And then I remember it's almost like she had a friend coming over that she was gonna do the lady's hair. And then she almost kicked me out like, oh yeah, you gotta go. So I already knew what that was. That's she wanted me, she basically made it to where I did not leave until her friend got there. So her friend could meet me. Basically, you know how women are. They want to introduce you to their friend, let their friend check you out, and then when I leave, they gonna compare notes. So that was like our last interaction. I want to say the preceding after that, weeks, months went by, and I remember I have a process where I will reach out to a woman, and I usually do three tries. I usually do text messages because I feel like if you're not gonna respond to a text message, what's the point of trying to call you because you're not even responding to the text message? How do I even know if you're available to even get on the phone? So I usually do text messages. So I did 3 different text messages, not all in the same day. I want to say I did like 1 a week probably, and she never responded. So I took it upon myself to text her after she didn't respond after that 3rd time. I think I waited like a week, and then I just let her know, hey, it seems like you're really busy. Seems like you don't have time for a relationship. So at this point, I think it's best that we just go ahead and end this here. And I wish you the best. Blah, blah, blah. I left it at that. No response still. And I think months went by. But I think I've said some of this in a previous video. But the main thing is that all of this time passes. And then when I end up running into her one day as I'm walking to, I think I was walking to the mall, but I run into her and she pulls over and makes sure that I saw her and was like, hey, it's great to see you. And I'm thinking to myself, and I didn't say this to her, but in my head, I'm like, it is? Because I was like, as far as I'm concerned, you basically ghosted me, so I didn't think you would want to be seeing me. But what I was realizing is that what is so strange about some women is that when you try to reach out, and I mean, you're not doing the most. You're not blowing her phone up every day. You're not sending like 20 or 30 text messages. You're doing the bare minimum, and it almost seems like they feel like that's not enough. Or if you're doing too much, then they're like, he's so thirsty, he doing too much. It's like they have set this standard that they keep changing, that you never really know what they're expecting. So fast forward to Thanksgiving time rolls around. Out of nowhere, she's like, oh, have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with this woman? Like, this randomness is just weird. But, I respond like, okay, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Then Christmas rolls around. Well, actually, it's kind of like once that rolled around, out of nowhere, she's like, well, I expect a Christmas card. And I'm thinking, a Christmas card? Really? And I mean, like I said, I think I've already said most of this in the video. What ended up happening, because my friend that introduced us was so adamant that we should work out. And that's what you have to understand. People have good intentions, but people don't realize what you're seeing. They don't see it. And I noticed that she put on a great persona at work and in front of him, but I was seeing things totally different that definitely turned me off. So needless to say, because of his interference or help or whatever you want to call it, him trying to like champion us, and I'm like, bro, this ain't gonna work. But okay, you want to keep, and it's almost like he wanted to keep the drama going. Maybe it's entertainment for him, but I'm like, bro, it's a waste of time. But okay, so he ended up buying a necklace, and then he basically just asked me to buy a well, he was telling me to get a card, but then he was like, well, just wrap the gift instead of me wasting money on wrapping paper for such a small gift. I got a nice little bag. But just to say, she got it, she was thankful. But what I noticed is that there was nothing said all this time. She's expecting a card, nothing about her getting me a card as well, none of that. But what was so crazy is that when we interacted after that, I had already told her that I wasn't interested anymore. And she proceeds to call me, text me a couple times. And I guess she wanted to talk about the fact that she got the gift and she liked it. But my thought was, you are so selfish and so focused on yourself, you didn't think to even get a card for me? Because Christmas is normally giving and receiving. So that was another red flag for me. I'm like, this woman is so thinking about herself that she basically begged me to get her a card. My friend went over that, got a necklace for her, and she still thought nothing of it to get me even something like, you could get a $5 t-shirt. But what was so crazy to me is that she ends up using my friend's phone to call me because she knew I was not responding to her, because like I said, I had already told her I wasn't interested anymore. But it's like these women, they don't get it until they feel like they tell you it's over. You could tell them all day, and I'm not saying all women, but some women have it so twisted in their head that it's not over until I'm done with you. And I'm thinking to myself, I've been done. But you keep stringing this out. So when she used my friend's phone, I'm expecting it's my friend on the other end. I said, hey, what's up, man? And all of a sudden she's going off. And I mean cussing, going off. And I'm thinking to myself, you're exuding all of this toxicity, all of this anger, and we've only been on like 1 or 2 dates, and that was months ago. I was like, what is all this? Where's all this coming from? But what it really felt like is that she's been so angry at her two baby fathers. She's been so angry at men that she interacts with that every chance she gets to stick it to a man, she enjoys it. And the part that let me know, once again, this is not the person I want to talk to, is that she cursing, she going all off, and she's doing this in a display in front of her coworkers, which I know was like, for some women, I don't know, I don't get how that seems to be mature, but you going off in front of your coworkers and acting a fool, that doesn't show maturity at all. So the thing that really let me know that I was not in the wrong, is that I politely let her know that I didn't appreciate the treatment. I felt like she was doing this purposely because she had some kind of reason she wanted to go off. But my thought process is, we could have had this conversation in private, but you just had to have this thing in front of everybody. So just to kind of finish this up, because I don't want to run it too long, but what I really am focusing on is, she had a friend that she was doing this in front of, and I bet the friend was probably egging her on, like, oh girl, yeah, you better tell him. But what I really appreciated was, there was a older black woman who knew all of them, who knew me as well, and she was so disappointed. She was so appalled at the whole thing, because she felt the same way I felt. It was unnecessary. It shouldn't have happened right there in front of everybody. And she should have been able to be more mature than using that kind of language. But thankfully, I, not having any feeling, not wanting to do anything else with her, my thought process was, hey, I let her know, because her main point was, you didn't respond to none of my texts. You didn't respond. I said, I already sent you a message saying I was not interested. And I said, you are showing me exactly why I'm not interested. Like, you are disrespectful. And I said, no man wants to be with a woman that's disrespectful. And I said, even when I'm talking now, and she was trying to cut me off, she was trying to overtalk me, and I said, that's it again. Like, not only, I said, that's disrespectful as well. I said, I let you talk for 15 minutes straight. I didn't ignore you. I didn't cut you off. I let you talk. You was cussing. I could have hung up on you because you're using language that I really didn't want to hear, but I let you get it out. But that was my main point, the fact that her disrespect was so strong, and it really made me think, why would I think anything different? I saw the way she interacted with her sons, yelling at them for no reason, always angry, always aggressive, always emasculating them. Like, I really felt like this woman needed so much therapy and needed to work on herself that it's just gonna get worse. And that's why I was like, nah, this is not gonna work for me. But my main point was, looking at the way she interacted with her sons let me know that it was not gonna work for us, because the way you treat them, they came out of you. They're your own blood. If you can't treat them right, you definitely gonna treat me any better. You're gonna treat me worse, because I'm not kin to you. I'm not a part of you. If you can't even treat your own children right, how you gonna treat a man that you want to be with right? So I say that to say, it's really interesting nowadays how a lot, and I'm not saying all, but I'm saying a lot of women wonder why they can't keep a man, why they can't be with a man. It's, the proof is in the pudding. You have such this masculine attitude that you gotta yell, that you want to fight, that you want to get in everybody's face. That is not what a man wants. And women all day talk about they want to be a wife and a mother. If you sit there and read Proverbs 31, there was nowhere in there that woman exuded anything that seemed masculine, that seemed aggressive, that seemed anything that is anywhere near what these women act like nowadays. But what I really want to say is that we need to have these older women train up these younger women. And I get it. Most of these younger women are going to flat out tell you, no, I don't need nobody telling me how to. And that's the thing. If you have that attitude where you feel like nobody can tell me nothing, okay, cool. Then when this young lady who took the time to get to know a married woman and ask her, how did you know, just basically had the married woman mentor her. When that woman ends up having a successful marriage and a successful family, and you still out here on baby daddy number 7 or number 8, you'll realize the only way for you to have a better life is to do something different, something you've never done before. And I don't understand how these women feel like letting social media, letting single people tell you how to be a wife. They ain't never been a wife themselves. Like, it don't make sense at all. That's like me going to school to be a doctor, and I'm trying to learn how to be a doctor from a mechanic. How can he tell me how to be a doctor? It makes no sense. But I just say, my main point, if you didn't hear anything else I said, we need to change the process. This is like we're in the Matrix right now, and these people are just living in this delusional world where they feel like they are privileged, they should get what they want, but don't put any work in. That's like me going to the gym, or that's like me not going to the gym and expecting I'm going to start looking like The Rock out of nowhere just because I want to. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to have the skills of Steph Curry sitting on my behind watching video games all day or watching videos. I would have to get in the gym and put in the work. Not to say I would ever be as skilled as him, but just to even make an effort to get to that level, it takes putting in some work. And people don't want to do any work. They want you to give it to them, and it's not going to happen. So I just had to get that off my chest, because I understand now that in this season, I am content and I am happy, and I have been so stress-free lately, because it's not that I gave up on dating, but I look at it as I'm going to just be happy. I'm going to just be happy. If I go to a restaurant by myself, I could care less. And I see plenty of gentlemen doing the same thing, because I'll say this last part because I always like to say something funny. I saw a friend of mine, well, I won't say he's a friend. I'll say it's an influencer that I follow because I like watching his YouTube videos when he reviews food. But he listed this list that women on social media have agreed upon of restaurants that they would not accept. And there were so many of those restaurants on there that I'm like, man, I would go to that restaurant. So what I basically said to him was, okay, that's cool. So I can enjoy these restaurants by myself and pay less because I'm not having to pay for myself and someone else. I like, fine by me. So I just pray that we take a moment to look at ourselves. We take a moment to work on ourselves, and then I feel like things will be better because we're holding ourselves accountable. So thank you. I pray that God blesses and keeps you. I pray that you have a safe Valentine's Day weekend, and don't take it personal if you don't receive the gifts that you feel like you should get or what you were expecting. Do like me. Enjoy yourself. Be your own Valentine. Take yourself out. Have a good time. And don't even stress about wondering if somebody's going to do something for you, because people are not obligated to do anything for you. So why put yourself at a point to get disappointed anyway. And I'm not being negative, I'm just being honest. But if you have a husband or a wife, if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, yeah, then you should expect something. It would be weird for them not to do anything for you. But if you're a single person, you're not dating anybody, don't put yourself at a point of getting disappointed when you don't even have anybody like guaranteed that's going to do something for you. So I would say if you're single, enjoy your singleness, have fun, take yourself out, get yourself a little dessert, do your thing, but don't let yourself get sad or upset because this person you thought well, all right, and they may have even promised you they were going to do something, and if they disappoint you, let it roll off your back. Don't worry about it. They are missing out on getting to know a great person because maybe they have some issues on their own that they're dealing with. So maybe God is allowing you to avoid this person because he already sees in the future that they ain't gonna do nothing but break your heart anyway. So be blessed. Thank you for the time. And I pray something I said will help you rethink the way you're doing things, and maybe it'll be a better future for you. Thank you. God bless you.